try to make it something objective when it's not. But there's nothing
Oh, right. There's nothing quantifiable or objective about the capacity to feel. I mean, come on. It's common to any intelligence. Any intelligence that has a glimmer of rationality can understand the concept of feeling, and of harm, and of pain, and of suffering. These are all things that consciousnesses have experienced. They know they exist. They know it has meaning. What the specifics are, okay, we can argue about, but let's not argue about the fact that it has meaning.
Justifiable here. There's no way that you can say, here is where the line is drawn in the sand. Here is the point where it becomes unethical to eat these animals.
Well, don't we always have to draw a line somewhere? I mean, don't those lines get drawn? I mean, we drew the line when it comes to slavery. Didn't we draw that fucking line? I know it's a line you're a little bit uncertain about, but most people are quite certain that that was a good line to fucking draw. And there's now, as human beings progress, we're seeing that that line maybe could be drawn a little bit better. All right, we've had a lot of bad line drawing in the past. We drew lines that put women on one side and put men on the other side in terms of their human rights. All right, we undrew that line and we moved it to a better fucking place. But the line's going to be drawn, and it ought to be drawn by our best intelligence, not our fucktarded addictions, not our sensibilities that we've acquired through our cultural maturation. So step out of your own stupid, individual fucktardedness and take the subject fucking seriously as an intellectual argument, as a philosophical question, not as some subjective crap that you're just going to pull out of your fucking ass.
On this point, animals just think and feel too much for us to justify their consumption. You know, and even different vegetarians
justify their exploitation, you asshole. You really can't know so little about this subject that you don't know it is about how the animals are treated, not just how they are killed or the fact that they are killed. It is about how they are treated. All right, if you have your little Hercules, if that breed of dog was used as food and all we did was keep it in little cages and it never got petted once in its life and it never got a decent moments of treatment. All it did was whine and whimper, you know, for 3 years until it was of proper weight and mass for us to turn it into something we wanted to consume. Would you say that was showing our intelligence? Would you say that the human race that's a glorifiable moment in human, behavior, that they could figure out with their huge giant brain that it made sense to take a little sensitive creature and lock it in a fucking cage and treat it like shit? I mean, come on, you fucking asshole.
Draw the line in different places in the sand. I mean, Benjamin Franklin was a vegetarian, but he ate fish. Maybe you eat fish. I don't know. Maybe you're anti-fish as well. I haven't.
Yeah, well, whatever. It's not about who does what, okay? This isn't some kind of let's name drop all over the fucking place about opinions. It's an argument, a logical argument. Where's your fucking logic to justify ever wasting suffering? All right? Ever wasting a bad feeling. Why would you waste something like bad feelings? All right? There's things you don't waste. You don't throw them in the garbage. They're not fucking pennies. They're at least nickels and dimes. They might even be quarters. They might even be $20 bills. All right? It's not the kind of thing you just flush in your fucking toilet. All right? Yeah, you can afford to scatter a few pennies around. Who the fuck cares? But this is a meaningful suffering. It's not irrelevant. It's not something you can just sit there and talk about like there is no logical argument to be had. There's a logical argument to be had, and it doesn't matter, whether the guy who has X opinion has a 6-foot-tall tat and the guy with the other opinion only has a 3-foot-tall tat. Who the fuck cares, all right? It's not about what people think, individual people. It's about the fucking argument. Deal with the argument. Okay, make an argument explaining how there's a justification for squandering or wasting the suffering of any creature capable of suffering.
Uncle who's a vegetarian that will eat fish. I mean, you have to understand that, when you see the cow out there eating grass, the cow is eating a living thing because grass is as alive as the cow.
As alive? They're the same kind of life form? So you're just ignoring that one has a brain and one doesn't. You just throw that in the trash and just say, yes, it's about they don't even both have a heart, right? But no, they're both chemistry, and they're both chemistry with a DNA molecule. Therefore, they're the same goddamn thing. You know how stupid that sounds?
that's eating it, just like cows are just as alive as the people who are eating them. I mean, every morning when you...
Just as alive again. So you're just as alive when you're in a coma as you are when you're conscious. You're just as alive just because... how do you define this life thing? Is it all just about a heartbeat? But obviously, like I said, the plants don't have one of those. So is it just about, what, active living chemistry or something? Reproductive chemistry? So as soon as you stop being reproductive chemistry, you're not alive anymore? I mean, this is just a stupid conversation. We know the difference between fucking grass and, you know, a lion. All right? Any asshole can see the fucking difference.
You presumably brush your teeth, you're killing millions of microorganisms. You've probably killed trillions, maybe hundreds of trillions of them in your lifetime. Brushing your teeth, washing your hands.
Yeah, well, just being alive, you do that, okay? Because the cells you're made out of keep dying all the fucking time. So if you don't exist, you won't be killing those cells. But again, nobody, 1.0001% of the movement that might be arguing about meat eating is arguing about goddamn non-sentient life, you fucker. I mean, you don't see them worried about, you know, bacteria cultures or something. Where do you see people sitting there, you know, having protests over, you know, yogurt or something?
That, you know, scrubbing the counter, you've killed trillions upon trillions of microorganisms, and really, I mean, like, if you're living in a house right now, your house was probably once the site of some trees, which were once the habitat for some animals. I mean, pretty much everything that we human beings do on this planet is killing other animals. Not just us, but pretty much every mammal on this planet has to kill some other plant or something. Yeah, now isn't that a liability of our existence? That's right. Just existing, just being here means that we have to be part of a system. And we can decide what our role is going to be in that system, how big a menace we're going to be. We can control a lot of that. We don't have to just ignore it. We don't have to pretend it doesn't exist. It exists. It's right in front of our face, and we're smart enough to know it. The fact that the rest of nature has no choice, it can't advocate, it doesn't have any fucking place else to go, it doesn't get to vote on whether we should still maintain a system where feeling creatures eat each other. No one gets to, there's no election here. Other animal to survive. I mean, it's like the whole circle of life thing that they sing about in The Lion King. I mean...
Yeah, is that what you're going to do? Is that the circle? Is that the t-shirt you're going to wear? So that's your god? You know, nature? Okay, so at least these other fucktards have a god that at least is supposed to be intelligent enough to come up with, you know, golden roads and pearly gates and stuff. At least he has something going on. And your fucking god is what? A fucking DNA molecule. A fucking molecule. So you say the molecule knows best. We should just do what the molecule says. Natural selection, 4 billion years of evolution. That has more brains than us. We shouldn't apply our judgment to this circumstance. No, we should just do what nature does. We should imitate the fucktarded molecule. Yeah, great advice, TJ. Thanks.
You have to understand that. That's just the nature of nature.
Wow, that's a great explanation. It's the nature of nature, and therefore we should naturally do the natural thing. Is that it? So yes, let's be obedient to a fucking molecule. Right. So why don't we just take this whole brain thing and just flush it down the fucking toilet, metaphorically. Bravo, fucking idiot. All right, well, anyway, summing up. Look, the issue isn't whether or not... Look, we can argue about the rightness and wrongness of eating meat, but I think the first argument to be had is just recognizing the non-necessity of it. So you have to justify it, and the point is justifying it going forward. If I have the liability of smoking cigarettes, okay, I'm a cigarette smoker. It's not going to change. That's the way things are. But I certainly don't encourage anybody else to pick these up. I would pass laws preventing any kid from ever smoking or starting to smoke. And you could do the same thing. You could stay being a fucktarded meat eater, but you could be smart enough to realize that there's no point in encouraging that vice in young people, okay, or into another generation, that they can live without it. And if there's two choices, to live with it or to live without it, it's better not to have the addiction, not to have the dependency, because you can more efficiently live on this earth without it as a practical fact. Okay, it'll cost you less, it'll cost the society less if you live without it. Okay, and secondarily, if you have any kind of notion of decency or dignity or integrity as a goddamn feeling creature yourself, you can realize there's no fucking good, you know, tormenting and torturing fucking animals for your exploitation. That is a bullshit ethic, that it's disgusting, it's grotesque, and there's no point in becoming addicted or finding that necessary to your survival or your happiness. If you can find your happiness without fucking putting animals in cages, then you should goddamn do that. Fucker.